This is a time-sensitive warning to all Tesla stock investors, and this affects us long-term Tesla stock investors as well, so pay attention. And I'm keeping this video strictly about EVs and Tesla, but it's about the former president saying he will take action against EVs on day one. He said, "I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one, thereby saving the auto industry from complete obliteration and saving US customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car." Many are confused what mandates he's talking about. Remember this? Drastic climate regulations meant to ensure more than 2/3 of passenger cars and light trucks sold by 2032 are electric or hybrid vehicles in the US, with 56% of these required to be pure BEVs. The former president made no mention of the $7,500 EV subsidies, though. He only talked about this mandate, and Elon Musk replied to this by saying, "A surprising number of people think that Tesla survives on subsidies. That is true of our competitors, but not of Tesla." But how about the $7,500 tax credits? Will these go away as well? Well, I think the market is thinking that the former president is going to get rid of these. That's just from looking at Tesla stock this morning. But to completely get rid of all of these credits, the former president would need congressional approval. And looking at the current consensus forecast, it does seem like the Senate is going to become red, supporting the former president probably. And the House right now already leans right. But this is just a forecast and things can change. And would every single senator really want to get rid of these tax credits and manufacturing credits, the things that bring a lot of jobs to the US? The market seems to think that's certainly possible. So if you think that the $7,500 tax credits are going to go away, as a short-term investor, one would think this is terrible for Tesla stock. I gotta sell now. But for a long-term investor, that's actually good news because only Tesla is making profits in the US selling EVs. So if these other manufacturers cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel of how they would ever get to profits, will they really keep trying? Definitely not as hard. So it actually increases Tesla's market share in the long term, but of course it will take away some sales in the short term because the vehicles will get more expensive for the consumer because of the tax credit being taken away, and potentially the battery credits that are sent directly to the manufacturers who produce the batteries. But one thing is inevitable: EVs will get cheaper, and as they do, it will become more and more stupid to buy a gas-powered vehicle, especially as there are more and more superchargers deployed everywhere and charging speeds improve, and as more and more people are able to charge at home, as naturally apartment buildings start installing EV chargers, making it much easier to own an EV. That is a commercial inevitability. Why would you spend more money to buy something that's actually inferior? EVs are safer, they drive better, they cost less money to maintain. The only thing that would realistically stop the transition to EVs is a 100% ban on all electric vehicles. So while this is a warning to Tesla stock investors in the short term to keep our expectations lower for EV sales in the US, in the long term, this represses competition in the US, giving Tesla an advantage. So this is not bad news for us long-term Tesla stock investors. Not at all. Also, there's this headline that says Elon Musk secretly lobbied on JD Vance. So there's a good chance that Elon Musk thought that this vice presidential candidate could be favorable to Tesla. Actually, sounds like there's something we don't know. Elon's friend David Sachs from Silicon Valley also pushed for Vance together with Elon, but it could be as simple as Vance having spent years in Silicon Valley. And finally, Elon Musk addressed the report saying that he's donating $45 million per month to support the former president. This note is false. I have not pledged anything to anyone. I did create a PAC that is focused on supporting candidates who favor a meritocracy and personal freedom, but funding to date has been far below that level. Based on Elon's wording, I assume all of that money is going to go to candidates on the right, meaning that we should expect a lot more attacks from the left against Elon and therefore against Tesla as well. And note how Elon said so far spending has been below this level. I assume that the spending will increase. And the more money Elon spends supporting political candidates, the more nasty attacks I expect against Elon and therefore Tesla. Starting now, Tesla is offering a loan rate of 2% for all new Model Y finance orders in the US. Promotional rate applies to finance terms from 36 to 72 months for new vehicles vehicles, and orders must be placed by August 31st to be eligible and take delivery by September 30th. So that actually makes sense. I expect the financing deals to come back the next quarter though. This is not 1% like the last time, but still it will be a good boost to Tesla's demand. The reason why Tesla is not offering 1% and only 2% is likely because the demand is actually better now. Also remember, we have the new Model 3, which will help with volume, putting less pressure on the Model Y. In the meantime though, Tesla has increased the price of all Model X and Model S variants in the US by $2,000. I think partially this is because of the Cybertruck, which is definitely cannibalizing sales of the Model S and X. Maybe the Model S is not as affected, but the Model X, because it's an SUV, is definitely affected. Anyway, I doubt this is because of much higher demand, although it could be. Gary Black definitely sees this as a bullish thing, adding 2 cents per share to yearly earnings per share. The thing is, Tesla doesn't break down exactly how many Model S's and X's it sells. It just says other models. So it's not exactly super easy to figure out exactly what's going on. Also, Tesla has announced that to enable additional Model 3 performance and Model X all-wheel drive vehicles to qualify for the federal EV credit, they are offering complimentary paint options for Model 3 performance and seating layout options for Model X all-wheel drive if you add FSD to your order. So they are sort of discounting FSD in a way, but very indirectly. And I don't mind this at all. Anyway, if you know anyone who is thinking about buying a Tesla in the US, you should tell them right now is the best time ever to buy a Tesla vehicle because the $7,500 tax credits could be going away if someone is elected. Give them a bit of a nudge and a sense of urgency because it's very real. And Tesla is running quite a few promotions right now. With the current rhetoric out there, we could see significantly higher deliveries. Here's some good news. Harmony Energy has begun construction on France's biggest battery storage facility using Tesla's Megapacks. The battery will be able to power 170,000 homes for 2 hours. The facility is on the side of an old power station which burned fossil fuels for more than 30 years. I think the current limiting factor on the Megapack business is not demand, it is supply. Tesla needs to be able to produce more Megapacks, and I wouldn't really be surprised at all if we saw another Megapack factory announcement. Alex has been talking about Tesla's energy business for 5 years now. He has a warning: don't be a fool. Tesla is not a car manufacturer, it's a technology company with an automotive division, and no, it doesn't matter how big its revenue and profit contribution is today. It's all about the future and what's going to happen later. Oh, Cybertruck customers will finally be able to install FSD probably in the near future because Elon did confirm that 12.5 will merge the highway code with the city driving code as well as allow it to be installed on every single Cybertruck. And seeing this Cybertruck equipped with LiDAR further confirms that what Elon said is true and that it is happening very soon. Oh, and I really like this. There's going to be a new software update for all Teslas. Right now, Cybertrucks already have it, which will show you the weather quality right outside. So right now, I can only see the temperature, but this is really good. I love this. So this is me waiting for the latest FSD version as well as this new feature that will allow me to see the exact quality of the weather outside. Here's another thing that's coming to all Teslas, which is already available on Cybertrucks. You can now schedule your charging right on your Cybertruck. You just select the home or work locations to better dial in the most advantageous charging schedule. So this makes everything just a little bit easier. You got this huge screen, so yeah, why not take advantage of it? Omar commented on the EV mandates being taken away. This is why I bought Tesla today. The market is interpreting this as a negative without looking too much into it, when in reality it will strengthen Tesla's competitive position greatly. Here are Tesla sales over the last 5 years. The black line is when the Inflation Reduction Act and the new EV tax credit took effect. Sales have been flat since from this moment. So the law worked exactly as it was designed. Hybrids getting the credits, for example. Why hybrid sales surge as EV sales flatten? US automakers race to build more hybrids. So for those who are upset that the $7,500 tax credits could go away, just remember the plug-in hybrids also will no longer get these credits. This seems to describe the job of Elon Musk at Tesla, as Elon replied to it personally, saying it's not far wrong. The job of a CEO mostly sucks balls. All the worst people problems, product problems, growth problems are yours to solve. The success is usually thanks to teamwork, but failures are that of the leader also known as the CEO. This job shouldn't be as glamorous from the outside. It's a massive pain in the butt. Today we are having massive outages, hospitals, airlines, big websites, big companies, Microsoft, and it's because of this outage from CrowdStrike. So is Tesla affected? Well, Elon said we just deleted CrowdStrike from all of our systems, so no rollouts at all. But unfortunately, many of our suppliers and logistics companies use it. So Tesla is likely going to be a little bit affected, but it shouldn't be too bad. There's a review of the BYD Seal, a direct competitor of the Model 3. Watching this made me realize Tesla is still leading in software development and it's not even close. But he says that Tesla is behind in charging speed and other things. It's not obvious to me that he is comparing Tesla to BYD in this case, because he did mention Rivian later as well. But if he is comparing Tesla to BYD, we gotta remember this: the top-selling BYD Auto here in Thailand tops out at 88 kilowatts. BYD Seal tops out at 150 kilowatts, with the regular Model Max at 110 kilowatts. Most Teslas charge at up to 250 kilowatts and may get faster soon. Yeah, less than 250. I would not like going on long road trips. And right here, you can see that every single Model Y sold in the US actually charges at 250 kilowatts max. Same goes for the Model 3, except for the rear-wheel drive version, which charges at 170 kilowatts. ARK Invest yesterday sold a little bit of Tesla stock. It wasn't even in their main fund though, and keep in mind that in their main fund, Tesla stock right now is 14.5% of their fund. This is more than ARK Invest is usually comfortable with, so I would not be surprised at all if ARK Invest sells quite a bit of Tesla stock unless Tesla stock goes down. Typically, ARK Invest really starts to get uncomfortable and starts selling at about 12% or so, and it's already 14%. One day when it's time for me to go, I would like to go in a Tesla. How about you? Here are the top 7 voted questions for Tesla so far, and I'm a bit surprised. The Roadster made it to the top 7? Really? As an investor, I don't care. Although as a Tesla customer, I really do care. So this goes to show us that a lot of Tesla stock investors actually really are invested in Tesla in a personal sense. But I don't know, with all of the layoffs that we had earlier this year and Elon Musk reorganizing the whole company, is Tesla really working on the Roadster anymore? I think the chances of that are not exactly very high. James does not like these questions. I personally would love to see a question like this. Please disclose FSD take rates and revenue. Omar also doesn't like the questions. In the second quarter of 2024, Tesla sales in California fell by about 24%, but this is before Elon made an endorsement of the former president. So if the sales are not exactly great in California next quarter, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of Elon's endorsement. And did you know that California accounts for 10% of Tesla's global deliveries? Bloomberg's article says registrations fell year over year the last 3 quarters in California, but if you look quarter over quarter, the sales are actually going up. AJ predicts that Tesla will sell an all-time high number of Model Ys this quarter in the US, helping Tesla's global deliveries. Oh, this is EV registrations in May 2024 in the US. There seems to be one outlier. Okay, but why are Tesla sales year over year not up in the US? There's actually a good explanation for that. Many Tesla bears are sounding the alarm as Tesla's EV sales in the US are once again down year over year while other EVs grew. The truth is, the headline number misses the liquidation sales that are going on right now. Legacy automakers produce too many EVs and they are ending up piling up on dealer lots. And now these companies are forced to offer insane deals on these vehicles. In May, some EV models got over $15,000 in discounts. Incentives on the Kia EV6 reached $16,800. Kia EV9 incentives reached $18,000. And it's not a one-off. That was on average per vehicle. And GM's Cadillac Lyriq offered around $17,700 in incentives. Meanwhile, the Tesla Model Y offered around $5,500 in incentives in May. And this is a huge change from a year ago. 1 year ago, the Lyriq had an average incentive of just $760. So there is a lot of discounting going on right now. But the craziest part is Tesla, of course, is making money. These other companies are definitely not making money. They are losing money, and the more they discount, the more they lose. So that's why these companies are pulling back on EV production. And Ford, for example, decided to take a factory that was supposed to make EVs and produce Super Duty trucks instead. So the bears expecting legacy auto to continue to gain share may be disappointed, especially if these $7,500 EV tax credits are removed. And this cannot be sustained. So we should expect automakers to produce fewer EVs at higher prices, ceding the market to Tesla. Here are some crazy facts. The Toyota BZ4X and Tesla Model Y have about the same price, $43,000 versus $45,000, but Toyota is of course losing a lot of money on theirs. And the lease price is just $239 a month compared to the $500 monthly payment from Tesla. As bad as the Toyota EV is, if you are giving it to me for half the price, I might consider it. But these deals are definitely not sustainable. You could literally get 2 Toyota BZ4Xs for the price of a Model Y and still have $20 a month left over for X Premium. They literally say right here, lease includes $15,250 cash incentive. While going through this list, I found something that's quite interesting. Check this out. Can you see Fisker right here? 805 vehicles sold. It outsold Lucid. It outsold Honda. It outsold Porsche. It outsold Volvo, Jaguar, Acura, Fiat, and Cruise. Cruise sells vehicles? There's another report confirming that Tesla's Giga Shanghai is currently running at full capacity with a new Model Y rolling off the production line every 30 seconds on average. This means that either demand is really good and we have seen the wait times actually increase despite this production ramp, and the recent delivery numbers from China do support that theory, but I think James is right here. I suspect Tesla plans to build inventory in China ahead of Q4, where they will begin prolonged production shutdowns to prepare for production of the refreshed Model Y in Q1 of next year. James commented on the mandates ending, referred to this post from April. A significant portion of Tesla profit comes from subsidies and regulatory credits. The former president is not bullish for Tesla. This is literal poop, he says. However, keep in mind that James is sort of looking at the next 12 to 18 months usually, and not long term. So if you wanted to know exactly why Tesla stock is doing what it's doing right now, this is the explanation. This is a pretty interesting take from James. Interesting that the first sighting of Model Y under camo was in the US. He's talking about the refresh Model Y. Same thing happened with the Model 3 before production started in China. Tesla is doing everything to keep the news of the Model Y refresh away from China. Chinese consumers are smart. They will wait. I think most people here are oblivious. I think James is talking about this picture here. It's interesting that they covered the whole front, not just the lights. I consider this as good news. Our most recent letter to Tesla's board on adapting security budgets for Elon, the board, employees, and sites has been picked up by a lot of financial press and now also by corporate governance publications. So no doubt Tesla's board will definitely see this, and I think they will feel better about increasing Elon's security budget. Radford is running a poll. If you own a Tesla, did you in 2024 subscribe to FSD or purchase FSD outright? That's 40% of the people. Neither means that you purchased FSD before 2024. If you did purchase it, like me. And of course, this is going to be a biased test, but it does give us some insight. This is actually really relevant to Tesla. We started working on dry coating 10 years ago. LG plans to complete a pilot production line in the 4th quarter and start full-scale production in 2028, which will reduce battery manufacturing costs by 17 to 30%. The limiting factor account says, I expect the entire battery industry will eventually move to dry coating the electrodes. LG Chem is starting their pilot line later this year and plans to fully commercialize the technology by 2028. Tesla started their pilot line about 5 years ago, and that's when they started running into serious problems. So realistically, I don't think we are going to see 4680 cells widely mass produced with a dry electrode outside of Tesla until 2030. The exception would be if companies like CATL are keeping their cards very close to their chest and have big plans that we don't know about. But even then, I would expect 3 years at the earliest for volume volume production and many years after that before all new factories use that process. Also, remember that Tesla bought Maxwell and they were working on this problem for 10 years already. I found this report saying that the police in California, they won Cybertrucks, so that's obviously very good for Tesla. So we are getting a report that Tesla had to halt some production lines overnight because of the CrowdStrike outage. This strikes as odd as Elon Musk has repeatedly made the point that Tesla does all of its own software, but Elon stated that some suppliers are affected and that could be the reason why. Also, there is a report from Joe Tagmeyer, who's a drone operator. He reported on Monday that Giga Texas changed their production shift schedule to Monday, Thursday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And today was the best to test if this was accurate, as this is the first Friday since implementation. However, it's important to point out that the production shift changes does not mean the entire factory shut down. Rather, many sections such as casting, stamping, and the 4680 production cell areas are still operating. He was told overall weekly production numbers for both Model Y and Cybertrucks will remain unchanged, but this will improve efficiency, reduce costs, allow more line maintenance and upgrades. So you mean same outcome with less time, reducing the costs? That sounds like great news. That's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. And a big thanks to my Patreon supporters. By joining Patreon, you will have access to all of my exclusive videos on Patreon, as well as how much I am willing to pay for each Tesla share between 2024 and 2033. If you join the investor tier, you will also have access to my valuation model, where you will see all of my assumptions, including deliveries, the energy business, Tesla's future businesses like FSD, and of course much more. And then if you want to easily download that and put in your own numbers, then this third tier is for you. To all of my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet as well. It's really important to like the videos because that makes it less likely that the channel will be shadow banned later, like my other big channel got shadow banned before from about 50% of my regular viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.